So this is a story about a Fender Stratocaster. It's a Jimi Hendrix model. Everything's upside down. Everything is upside down. And so this is really a left-handed guitar, strung to play right-handed. I took off the original saddles, which I wish I hadn't, but I put these graphite saddles on. The story of this guitar is, I think it's 1999, and I want to say I was in New Orleans, maybe. I was with my ex-wife. And I think we walked past a music store, and I think this was in the window, and it was like, I said to her, like, because I'd never owned I'd never had a Fender Stratocaster. I said, if I have a really good year this year, 1999, I'd love to get that guitar. And let me tell you, this guitar. And so why is it this guitar? Well, it's obviously a Jimi Hendrix model. And what about a bunch of people don't realize, people who are not old. When I was growing up, to see musicians playing live, I mean, you had to rely on television, and you would see them occasionally. A lot of times they were playing to a track, it wasn't live, and sometimes you saw them live. And I remember seeing like the Beatles in Chase Stadium, that was live. But and occasionally on a show you'd see some bands live. But one band you never saw live was Jimi Hendrix. And so it was the summer of 1970. I was a huge Hendrix fan, but you see pictures, you never seen him play, nothing on television, him playing live. And so I remember I was down in Dallas, and I live in DFW now, and another brother, and we were staying with the older brother, and we went to see not the premiere of Woodstock. It was the second night of the Woodstock premiere. And we get to this theater and had big, huge spotlights and stuff. And when you walked in, they gave you a program. And the program was just all the stuff in the movie, from Woodstock. And you're just going like, what am I going to see tonight? It was at the Inwood Theater in Dallas, Texas. And you watch this movie and you're just going like, I was a musician, but I'd never, ever, ever seen musicians play with vibrato. I'd never seen anything like it. And I'm watching this movie, and then you'd see like, The Who, and you'd go like, oh my God, what was that? Or you'd see like Sly Stone, what was that? See 10 years after, what was that? Joe Cocker, what was that? And you keep seeing these acts, and they're greater and greater and greater. And you're going like, Jimi Hendrix, they were going to save him till last. I mean, he can't be anything. He can't be anything. Come on. I just saw, The Who, and I've never seen anything like that. And if you go to that movie, it just kind of zeroes in on him, and he's playing like this slow end to Voodoo Child. And then he ends, and then the rest is history of what he played. And you're just sitting there, and I went, in my life, I never comprehended that. And I saw all these other great bands who just blew my mind. And I'm looking at him, and I go, I've never comprehended that any human being could do what he just did. And that was Jimi Hendrix. And I never saw him again. I saw him in the summer of in the movie, I guess, in the spring or the summer of 1970. I saw it 10 years after that summer, like in July. In September, he's dead. And you never got to see the guy live or anything. But in the world of music, there are certain people, certain acts who are cool. Jimi Hendrix is cool. Prince is cool. There's a bunch of people who are just cool. And it just, so I was just, my whole life is like Jimi Hendrix, this and that, and so on and so forth. And so, when I finally saw this guitar, which made no sense for me to get. If I was gonna get a guitar and I was maybe thinking about going out and playing out live again, I'd get a regular Strat. What am I doing with this thing? But I got this thing. And so, it was like a really big deal. And so that's the story of the Jimi Hendrix Strat and how I came to get it. So, hope you enjoyed it.